Have you ever felt like someone keeps trying to block your happiness, your peace, or even your future? Like no matter how hard you try, there's always that one person who makes you doubt yourself, question your worth, and feel small? That's not just anyone. That might be a narcissist. But guess what? They don't have the final say over your life. God does. And if you're God's chosen one, then I've got some powerful news for you. God is funding your life, not them. That's right. You don't need the approval of the narcissist. You don't need to stress over their lies, tricks, or fake love. You've already been chosen by the Most High, and your journey is fully paid for by heaven. This message is for everyone who's ever been overlooked, mistreated, or made to feel less. You're not forgotten. You're called, covered, and carried. So stay with me till the end of this video, because by the time we're done, you'll understand just how powerful you really are and why the enemy is so afraid of your purpose. And hey, if this message speaks to your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Show some love by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Let's build a strong community of chosen ones who lift each other up. You're not alone in this. God's got you, and so do we. Let's begin. Sometimes it feels like we have to wait for people to like us, agree with us, or support us before something good can happen in our lives. We might think, if they accept me, then I can finally be happy. Or, if they help me, then I can succeed. But that's not how it works for someone who is chosen by God. Here's the truth. God is not waiting for anyone's approval to bless you. He doesn't need permission from your boss, your parents, your friends, or even the person who tries to make you feel small. God doesn't ask people if it's okay to raise you up. He doesn't check in with the narcissist who tried to tear you down. When he decides to bless you, it's already done. Let that sink in. Imagine a check being signed in heaven with your name on it. The amount, peace, purpose, strength, joy, and everything you need. It's not based on how many followers you have, how popular you are, or who claps for you. It's based on who you are in God's eyes. The world may try to delay your dreams. The narcissist may try to block your growth. But here's the hook. No one can stop what God has already written for you. If heaven already approved it, then no human can cancel it. This truth should light a fire in your heart. You don't have to beg to be seen. You don't have to perform to be loved. You don't have to wait for the world to say yes, when God already said go. Even if people doubt you, God believes in you. Even if they try to shut doors, God opens ones that no man can close. So hold your head high. You're not waiting on them. They're watching you rise. Narcissists are tricky. They don't always attack you with loud words or clear insults. Instead, they play games with your mind. They act like they care. But behind their words and actions is a plan to make you doubt yourself, your gifts, and even your connection with God. Here's the truth. The narcissist wants you to feel unworthy. They want you to think you're not good enough, not smart enough, not chosen. Why? Because as long as you're doubting yourself, you're not walking in your full power. As long as you're questioning your worth, you're not moving forward in your purpose. It's a quiet trick. They might say things like, "You're being too much," or "You think you're better than everyone." They might ignore your wins, make fun of your dreams, or give you fake compliments just to keep you confused. But deep down, they see something special in you. That's why they try to bring it down. They recognize your anointing, even if you don't. Here's the hook. They don't attack the weak. They target the powerful. That means their manipulation is not a sign that you're nothing. It's proof that you are something, something great, something chosen, something they can't control. Don't fall for their lies. You are not unworthy. You are not a mistake. God placed something powerful inside you, and no amount of gaslighting, silent treatment, or emotional games can erase that. Your anointing is not theirs to approve or deny. It comes straight from heaven. So every time the narcissist tries to make you shrink, remember who you are. Speak truth over your life. Stand in your calling. Let their tactics fall flat, because once you stop believing their lies, you start living in God's truth, and that's where your real power begins. One of the biggest traps many of God's chosen ones fall into is thinking they need certain people to survive, especially those who are toxic, controlling, or self-centered. Sometimes we stay close to these people because we think they're the only ones who can help us, support us, or open doors for us. But here's the truth. That's not how God works. Your life, your calling, your purpose, it's not powered by their attention or approval. God is the one funding your journey, and He doesn't check with the narcissist before blessing you. He doesn't hand out purpose based on who's popular or who's in control. He gives according to His will, not their opinion. Toxic people love to make you feel like you can't make it without them. They want you to believe they're the reason for your success, that without their help, you'll fall, that without their support, you'll be nothing. But that's a lie, a deep, dangerous lie. And if you believe it, you'll stay stuck in fear, always chasing their approval, always second-guessing your worth. But here's the hook. God doesn't invest in popularity. He invests in purpose. You don't need to be liked by everyone. You don't need to be seen, praised, or accepted by those who secretly want to control you. If God has called you, He will provide for you. Period. He can send help from unexpected places. He can make a way where there seems to be no way. He can raise you up without needing the very people who try to pull you down. So break that mindset. Stop depending on toxic approval. Start depending on holy provision. You were never meant to survive off crumbs from someone else's table. You are a child of God, and heaven has already prepared your seat. Walk in that truth and watch things shift. There's a powerful story in the Bible that speaks directly to what many of God's chosen ones face today. It's the story of Elijah, a prophet who obeyed God, even when it meant standing alone. After delivering a bold message to a wicked king, Elijah had to go into hiding. There were no friends around, no crowds cheering him on, no human support. But guess what? God still provided. In 1 Kings 17, the Bible says that God told Elijah to go and hide near a brook called Cherith. There, Elijah drank from the brook, and God sent ravens to bring him bread and meat every morning and evening. Think about that for a moment. God used birds to feed His prophet. Not people, not kings, not family or friends. Birds. This is your reminder. When man walks away, God steps in. And when toxic people reject you, betray you, or try to make you feel abandoned, it doesn't mean the end. It means God is about to show you how creative He can be. Here's the hook. God's provision doesn't always come the way you expect, but it always arrives right on time. The narcissist may think cutting you off will crush you, but they don't realize you serve a God who can send blessings from the sky, favor from strangers, and doors from directions you didn't even see coming. Don't limit God's power to human approval. He can use the uncommon, the unlikely, the unexpected. Just like he used ravens for Elijah, he can use anything to sustain you: resources, ideas, people, even silence. So, the next time someone tries to make you feel like you need them to survive, remember Elijah, remember the ravens, and remember that you're in the hands of a God who never runs out of ways to care for his chosen ones. There's a moment in every chosen one's journey when it feels like the walls are closing in, not because you're actually trapped, but because fear is whispering lies in your ear. Fear tells you you'll never make it without them. Fear tells you this is the best you'll get. Fear says, if you leave, you'll lose everything. But let's get honest here. You're not stuck. You're scared. That fear you're feeling, it's not coming from faith. It's not coming from God. It's the voice of the narcissist echoing in your mind long after they've spoken. You've heard it in their tone, in their manipulation, in the way they made you second guess your every move. Over time, you start believing their words more than you believe God's word. That's the real trap, not the situation you're in, but the thoughts you've accepted as truth. Fear is the language of the narcissist. They speak it fluently, not always with loud threats, but with quiet control. A look, a sigh, a cold shoulder, a fake smile, all designed to keep you in place, questioning yourself. They don't need to lock a door, they just need to lock your mind. And if you let fear guide your steps, you'll never walk into your freedom. But faith speaks a different language. It says, God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. It says, you are more than a conqueror. It says, the Lord is your shepherd, you lack nothing. When you begin to listen to faith instead of fear, you'll see you're not trapped. You've just been tricked into thinking you are. Here's the hook. Freedom isn't about running away. It's about waking up. Waking up to the truth of who you are in God. Waking up to the lies that have been used to control you. Waking up to the strength you already have inside you. You were never meant to live under fear. You were meant to walk in boldness, even when it means walking alone. Don't let fear keep you in a place where your spirit is shrinking. Don't let the fear of what if stop you from finding out what's next. That fear isn't protecting you. It's paralyzing you. And that's exactly what the narcissist wants. Because if you stay scared, you'll stay small. And if you stay small, they stay in control. But here's what fear doesn't want you to know. The moment you choose faith over fear, the game changes. You take your power back. You step into your purpose. You stop surviving and start living. You're not stuck. You're chosen. And chosen ones don't follow the voice of fear. They follow the voice of God. Sometimes, without even realizing it, you can spend so much time watching what the narcissist is doing that you forget to watch what God is doing. You replay their words in your mind. You overthink their texts, or lack of them. You wonder what they're planning, who they're talking to, whether they still care, whether they're winning. Your thoughts become a daily cycle of tracking someone who doesn't even have your best interest at heart. But here's the truth. Every moment you spend focused on them is a moment you're not focused on him, the one who's actually working things out for your good. This is how the enemy distracts God's chosen ones, not always with chaos, but with constant mental obsession over people who are not your source. You don't need their updates. You don't need to check their posts. You don't need to wonder what they're saying about you or if they've moved on. Because while you're looking over there, God is making a way behind the scenes. Here's the hook. God doesn't need to make noise to make progress. You might not see anything changing on the outside, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. God often does His greatest work in silence, in the background, in the unseen places, but you'll miss it if your eyes are still locked on the narcissist. This is your moment to shift. Not just your focus, but your faith. Shift it back to the one who called you, the one who saw your pain, the one who is preparing a table for you, not just in spite of your enemies, but in front of them. That's Psalm 23, verse 5. He's not only healing you, He's honoring you. So stop tracking their movements. Start tracking your miracles. Start watching for signs of your growth, your peace, your breakthrough. Let God have your full attention, because what He's building for you doesn't require their permission. It just requires your focus. All throughout the Bible, we see a pattern. God's chosen ones face opposition, but the opposition never wins. It might look powerful. It might sound intimidating, but it never has the final say. Why? Because when God chooses someone for a mission, no enemy, no obstacle, no narcissist can stop what He's already ordained. Let's go back for a moment. Did Pharaoh stop Moses? Pharaoh was one of the most powerful rulers on earth. Yet God used Moses, a man who stuttered, doubted himself, and once ran away from his calling, to break the chains of an entire nation. Pharaoh had soldiers, chariots, and pride, but Moses had God's favor. And in the end, it was Pharaoh's army that drowned, not God's promise. Did Goliath stop David? Goliath had size, strength, and status. David had a sling, 5 stones, and the Spirit of the Lord. Everyone around David told him he wasn't enough. But when the time came, he didn't hesitate. He didn't flinch, because he knew this battle wasn't about strength. It was about obedience and faith. One stone took the giant down. One act of trust silenced an army. This is your reminder. The narcissist in your life may be loud. They may be controlling. They may try to play God over your emotions, your choices, your future. But they are not God. They didn't choose you. They didn't anoint you. And they can't cancel your assignment. Here's the hook. History is filled with Goliaths, but it's also filled with Davids who won. There's always a Pharaoh, but there's always a Moses too. And when you're walking with God, you're not walking into defeat. You're walking into destiny. The narcissist may try to delay you, distract you, even discourage you, but they cannot destroy you. That's the confidence you must carry, not in your own strength, but in the track record of a God who's never lost a battle. God's resume speaks for itself. Red Seas part, giants fall, walls collapse, graves open, and His chosen ones rise every single time. So lift your head, steady your heart, and remember this. If God brought them through, He'll bring you through too. Sometimes we spend so much time chasing closure from the narcissist that we forget the real source of our peace and power. We want explanations, apologies, or some kind of sign that things are over so we can finally move on. But here's a powerful truth. You don't need closure from the narcissist. You need clarity from God. Closure from a narcissist is like chasing shadows, fleeting and often impossible. They rarely admit wrongs, rarely take responsibility, and often leave you feeling more confused and hurt. When you wait for their apology or explanation, you give them power to keep controlling your emotions. You stay stuck in a cycle of hoping, doubting, and replaying the same painful scenes in your mind. But clarity from God is different. It's solid, it's freeing. It cuts through the noise and confusion with divine wisdom and peace. When God gives you clarity, you understand your worth, your purpose, and the direction you're meant to walk. You no longer need to look back to find answers because you're focused on the path ahead. Here's the hook. God's clarity doesn't depend on human actions or apologies. It comes from His Word and His Spirit inside you. It's a light that shows you the truth of who you are, loved, chosen, and empowered, not defined by how the narcissist treated you. When you seek clarity from God, you start to detach from the emotional chains the narcissist has wrapped around your heart. You stop needing their validation or explanations to feel whole. You begin to live from a place of strength, peace, and purpose, rooted in God's promises, not human approval. Remember, true healing and power come when you shift your focus away from broken people and toward a perfect God who knows your story and holds your future. You don't need closure from the narcissist. You need the freedom that comes with God's clarity. That freedom is yours to claim today. Narcissists live in a world built on control and deception. Their power depends on keeping you confused, doubtful, and stuck. Because the moment you start growing and seeing clearly, their hold begins to weaken. The biggest fear of a narcissist isn't losing control of you. It's being exposed by the truth. Your growth, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, is like a bright light shining into a dark room. It reveals all the lies, the manipulation, and the games they have been playing. When you begin to understand who you really are, your worth, and God's plan for you, the narcissist's tactics stop working. This scares them. It threatens their carefully built image and power. Because truth terrifies narcissists, they try hard to distract you. They might create drama, spread rumors, or pull you back into their control with false promises. Their goal is to keep you so busy reacting to their actions that you don't have time to focus on your healing and your calling. It's a battle for your attention and your peace. Here's the hook. The more you grow, the more dangerous you become to the narcissist's control. That's why they act out. They want to stop your progress and keep you under their influence. But your growth is a sign that you're breaking free from their chains. Understanding this hidden motive helps you see through their distractions. You don't have to fall for the traps or get drawn into their drama. Instead, you can stay focused on your path, knowing that your growth is a threat to their lies. And that means you're winning. The truth is, your weapon, your growth is your shield. And the narcissist's fear? It's your signal that you're moving closer to freedom. Keep shining your light. Keep rising higher, because every step you take away from their manipulation is a victory for your soul. What the narcissist tries to use to hold you back, the delays, the disappointments, the setbacks, they actually can't stop God's plan for your life. What they meant to delay you, God will use to deliver you into your purpose. This is a promise filled with comfort and hope, and it's one you can hold on to firmly. Sometimes, it feels like everything is against you. The narcissist's actions may cause confusion, pain, or make you question your worth. You might wonder why things aren't moving forward the way you hoped. But here's the truth. Those delays are not signs of failure or rejection. They are moments God uses to prepare you, protect you, and redirect you towards something greater. Imagine the story of Joseph in the Bible. He was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison. all these delays and hardships seemed like disasters. But God was using every challenge to position Joseph for a powerful purpose, as a leader who would save nations from famine. What was meant for harm, God turned into a great deliverance. This same power is at work in your life. The narcissist's attempts to slow you down cannot stop the divine timing of your breakthrough. God's protection surrounds you. Even when you can't see it clearly, He is working behind the scenes, turning what looked like setbacks into stepping stones. The beautiful part is that God's protection is not just about keeping you safe. It's about leading you exactly where you're meant to go. What feels like a delay today could be the very thing that launches you into your destiny tomorrow. So, whenever the narcissist's actions cause frustration or pain, remember, God's purpose for you cannot be delayed. What was meant to slow you down, He will use to deliver you into a future filled with hope, joy, and fulfillment. Trust in that promise. Your breakthrough is on the way. Sometimes, the heaviest weight we carry isn't something physical. It's an emotional and spiritual burden that drags us down every day. When dealing with a narcissist, this burden can feel even heavier. You might not even realize it, but carrying what God already told you to let go of is why you feel so tired and worn out. God wants you to release that burden, especially the narcissist, and step into freedom and peace. Living with the emotional weight of a narcissist's manipulation, lies, and control is exhausting. It's like carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones that no longer belong to you. Every hurt, every doubt, every disappointment feels like another stone added to your pack. You drag it everywhere, into your sleep, your work, your relationships, and your faith. But God's instruction is clear. Let go of what is not yours to carry. When God asks you to let go, it's not because He wants you to ignore the pain or pretend everything is okay. Instead, He is inviting you to hand over the weight that's too much for you to bear. The narcissist's drama, their lies, their control, those are not your burdens to carry. They are theirs. When you hold on to them, you give them power over your peace and your purpose. Here's the truth. Release is freedom. When you finally decide to let go of the narcissist's hold on your heart and mind, you create space for healing and growth. You stop carrying their weight, and you start carrying God's strength instead. This doesn't mean you forget what happened, or that you stop protecting yourself. It means you stop letting their toxic influence control your emotions and your future. Think about it like this. Imagine trying to walk a long journey with a heavy bag tied to your back. Every step becomes harder. You get tired faster. Your progress slows. But the moment you untie that bag and set it down, you feel lighter, stronger, and able to move forward with more purpose. This is what God wants for you, to release the heavy burden and walk freely in His strength. Carrying the narcissist's weight doesn't just tire you out physically. It drains your spirit and clouds your faith. It steals your joy and dims your hope. When you hold on to their control or the pain they caused, it becomes a prison that keeps you stuck in the past. But God's plan is to set you free. Releasing the narcissist is also an act of faith. It's trusting that God is enough to fill the space they leave behind. It's believing that your worth, your identity, and your future don't depend on their approval or presence. You don't need their validation to move forward because God has already declared you chosen, loved, and empowered. This process of release can be challenging. It may feel scary or uncertain at first. You might worry about being alone or losing control. But God's promise is that when you let go, He will catch you. He will hold you up when you feel weak, guide you when you feel lost, and fill you with peace that surpasses understanding. Letting go also means setting boundaries. It means protecting your heart and mind from further harm. It means choosing to surround yourself with people who uplift, support, and encourage your growth. It means choosing to focus on God's promises rather than the narcissist's lies. Remember, releasing the narcissist doesn't mean you are weak. It means you are strong enough to stop carrying what was never yours to bear. It means you are choosing freedom over bondage, peace over chaos, and God's plan over manipulation. So if you're feeling tired, overwhelmed, or stuck, ask yourself, what am I holding on to that God has already told me to release? The answer may be the burden of the narcissist. And when you choose to let go, you'll find the strength, peace, and purpose that God has been waiting to give you all along. You are not abandoned. You are assigned. These words carry a powerful truth that can change how you see yourself and your journey, especially when you've been hurt or dismissed by a narcissist or others. Often, when people around us reject or try to control us, it's easy to feel forgotten or unwanted. But here's a bold and life-changing reminder. God has assigned you a purpose, and He is the one funding your assignment, not the approval of others. When a narcissist tries to make you feel small, unworthy, or overlooked, they're only trying to shake your confidence. Their approval or disapproval is based on selfish motives, not on your true value or destiny. But God's approval is what truly matters. He is the one who created you with intention and set a unique mission for your life. Think about a job assignment from a boss or a teacher. When you are given a task, the focus is on completing the work well, not on how many people like you or give you thumbs up. Similarly, God assigns you a purpose to fulfill, and He provides everything you need to accomplish it. His funding is unlimited. It's in the form of strength, wisdom, favor, and blessings. This truth helps you stay confident, even when the narcissist tries to bring you down. Their opinions don't define your identity or your worth. Instead, your identity is rooted in God's calling on your life. You are chosen, equipped, and sent on a divine mission that no one can stop. When you keep your confidence grounded in God's purpose, you stop chasing approval from people who do not truly care about your growth or well-being. You begin to walk boldly, knowing that your success and fulfillment come from God's plan, not from fitting in or being liked. This is why you can face challenges without fear. Even if the narcissist tries to block your path, remember, God funds your assignment, not popularity contests. Your value and progress come from Him. Let this truth settle deep in your heart. You are not abandoned or forgotten. You are assigned. God is with you every step of the way, providing all you need to complete your divine mission. Keep your eyes on Him and walk forward in confidence and purpose. Being targeted by a narcissist is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign that you are chosen. This may sound surprising at first, because being hurt or manipulated feels painful and unfair. But here's a powerful truth. Narcissists don't waste their energy on just anyone. They go after those who shine, those who have something valuable within them. You were targeted because you stand out, because you have a purpose, and because you carry a light that threatens their darkness. When someone tries to control, or tear you down, it's easy to feel shame or blame yourself. You might think, why me? What's wrong with me? But that kind of thinking only keeps you trapped. It gives the narcissist power to make you believe you're less than you really are. Instead, it's important to flip the story. Being chosen by God means you have strength, value, and dignity that no one can take away. Even when someone tries to diminish you, the narcissist's attacks are not about your flaws. They are about their fear of your growth and your potential. They target you because you are important and because your success and freedom threaten their control. This truth disarms shame. Instead of feeling weak, you begin to see yourself as strong and selected for something greater. You realize that the hurt you've experienced is not a reflection of your worth, but a challenge you can overcome with God's help. You carry dignity in your identity as God's chosen one. This dignity is like armor that protects you from the lies and attacks of the narcissist. When shame tries to creep in, remind yourself, I was targeted because I am chosen. I am not weak. I am strong, worthy, and destined for great things. This shift in perspective frees you from shame and restores your power. It helps you heal, grow, and move forward with confidence and purpose. You don't have to hide or be silent about what happened. Instead, you can stand tall, knowing that being targeted was never about your weakness. It was about your strength and your calling. Remember, your value is not defined by how others treat you, but by who God says you are, His chosen, beloved, and victorious child. This truth is your dignity, your shield, and your freedom. You are standing at the edge of a powerful transition, a season that feels tough now, but is actually setting you up for something incredible. This is your Joseph moment. Just like Joseph in the Bible, who was betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, and then sold into slavery, you might feel like life has buried you under challenges, pain, or rejection. But God's plan for you is far greater than the hardships you're facing right now. Joseph's story didn't end in the pit or prison. Those difficult times were preparing him for a position of great favor and influence. He was being shaped and positioned to save nations and fulfill his destiny. In the same way, what feels like being buried or held down in your life right now is actually God's way of positioning you for favor and breakthrough. The narcissist or the difficulties you face might have tried to bury your dreams, your hope, and your purpose, but they cannot stop God's plan. Instead, these struggles are the very steps that lead you to your next season of blessing and success. Picture Joseph standing before Pharaoh, not as a prisoner, but as a trusted leader with wisdom and favor to save many people. This is what God is doing in your life behind the scenes. He's turning your setbacks into setups for something greater. So, hold on to this truth. Your current struggles are not your final story. They are part of a transition, a powerful preparation for the favor, promotion, and breakthrough God has waiting for you. Keep faith and stay strong. Your Joseph moment is coming, and it will change everything. Your season of scarcity is ending. This is a powerful declaration that marks a turning point in your life. If you've been feeling limited, held back, or stuck in a place where resources, whether money, opportunities, relationships, or peace, seem scarce, this message brings fresh hope. God's resources are catching up with your obedience. What does that mean? It means that every step you have taken in faith, Every time you have trusted God despite the hard times, He has been working behind the scenes, preparing to bless you abundantly. Scarcity is often one of the hardest seasons to live through. It's a season filled with worry, stress, and fear. You might wonder how you will pay your bills, if you will ever find the right job, or if you will ever experience peace in your relationships. These feelings are real and heavy. But here's the truth that can change everything. Scarcity is not your identity, and it is not your forever. It is a season, and like all seasons, it will change. The shift happens because God notices your faithfulness. When you remain obedient to God, choosing to keep your heart pure, to do what is right, to trust His timing, even when you don't see immediate results, you're planting seeds. Every act of obedience is a seed sown into the soil of your future blessings. And just as seeds don't sprout overnight, God's resources don't always arrive immediately, but they are coming. They are catching up with your obedience. Imagine a river that has been dry for a long time. The ground feels cracked, and the plants around it look tired. But then, the clouds gather, and the rain begins to fall. Slowly at first, then stronger, the riverbed fills with water again. The plants begin to grow and flourish. This is what God's blessings feel like when they come after a season of scarcity. They revive and renew everything. You may have wondered why your prayers seem unanswered, or why it feels like you're working hard but not getting ahead. Sometimes, God allows seasons of scarcity to stretch us, to teach us patience, humility, and dependence on Him. It's during these times that our faith is tested and strengthened. When you stay obedient in these tough seasons, you're showing God that you trust Him not just for the blessings, but for the process itself. The Bible is full of stories where people faced scarcity but saw God's resources arrive just in time. Remember Elijah, who during a famine was fed by ravens? Or Joseph, who was in prison before becoming second in command of Egypt? Their obedience in difficult seasons positioned them to receive God's blessings in powerful ways. Your story is no different. Declaring the end of scarcity is more than just hopeful thinking. It's speaking life over your circumstances. It's choosing to believe God's promises instead of focusing on lack. When you declare that your scarcity is ending, you're aligning your heart with God's truth. This declaration invites hope and anticipation because it opens the door for God to move in ways you haven't imagined. As God's resources catch up with your obedience, you will begin to notice small changes. Maybe it's a new opportunity at work, a financial breakthrough, or restored relationships. It might be a deeper peace or a sudden clarity about your path. These are signs that the season is shifting and that God is honoring your faithfulness. This shift also calls for gratitude. Even in the middle of scarcity, giving thanks prepares your heart to receive. Gratitude is like a magnet that draws blessings closer. It reminds you that God is already working, even when you don't see it yet. Anticipation is another powerful part of this shift. Instead of fearing the future, you start looking forward to what God will do. You begin to expect good things because you trust that God's timing is perfect. This anticipation fuels your obedience and strengthens your faith. It's important to stay connected to God through prayer, reading His Word, and surrounding yourself with positive support. These habits keep your heart focused on God's promises and help you recognize His blessings as they arrive. Remember, this shift is personal and unique to your journey. It might not look like someone else's breakthrough, and that's okay. God's resources come in the right way, at the right time, tailored for your life and purpose. Your obedience is powerful. It's the key that unlocks God's resources. When you declare that your season of scarcity is ending, you are stepping into a new chapter filled with hope, renewal, and abundant blessings. So stand firm in faith, keep sowing seeds of obedience, and watch as God's resources catch up with you. Your breakthrough is coming, your season of scarcity is ending, and God's blessings are about to overflow in your life in ways you never imagined possible. The narcissist may try to rewrite your story, but God already wrote your victory. This powerful truth stands as a prophetic charge, a call to rise above the lies and manipulation, and to walk confidently into the destiny God has prepared for you. Many times, when you face a narcissist, their goal is to control the narrative about your life. They want to make you doubt your worth, question your purpose, and feel powerless. But here is the promise that changes everything. No matter what they say or do, God has already written your victory. To walk in victory means to live boldly and unapologetically in the truth of who you are and what God has called you to be. It means refusing to let the toxic voices drown out the voice of God inside you. It means standing firm on the foundation of God's promises, knowing that your story is not defined by pain, manipulation, or delay, but by triumph and purpose. Narcissists thrive on chaos and confusion. They want to keep you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt, fear, and blame. They rewrite your story by twisting facts, spreading lies, and making you feel like you are the problem. But God's story for your life is much bigger and more powerful. His story is one of redemption, restoration, and victory. The Bible is full of examples of people who faced enemies, trying to rewrite their stories, but ended up victorious because God had already planned their triumph. Think about David and Goliath. The giant tried to intimidate David and rewrite the story as one of defeat. But David stepped forward with faith, and God's victory was sealed. Think about Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers and sold into slavery. The pain, betrayal, and injustice could have rewritten Joseph's story as one of failure. But God had already written Joseph's victory, a rise to power that saved many lives. Their stories remind us that God's writing is final and perfect, and no enemy's attempt to rewrite it can stand. Walking in your victory also means embracing the identity God has given you. You are not a victim, and you are not defined by the narcissist's lies. You are chosen, loved, and powerful through God's Spirit. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to reveal your strength, courage, and faith. The prophetic charge is to take your rightful place as a victor. Don't let the narcissist's attempts to distort your story hold you back. Instead, stand tall, speak truth over your life, and walk forward with confidence. Declare that the lies will no longer have power over you. Declare that God's victory is your reality. This declaration releases you from the chains of doubt and fear and opens the door to freedom and fulfillment. Walking in victory requires faith and action. It means making choices that align with God's purpose. It means setting boundaries, protecting your heart, and seeking God's guidance daily. It means surrounding yourself with people who uplift and encourage you, and letting go of toxic relationships that try to pull you back into old patterns. Remember, your victory is not just for you, it is a testimony for others. When you refuse to let a narcissist rewrite your story, you become a living example of God's power to restore and redeem. Your life will inspire others to believe that they too can overcome and walk in victory. God's writing is perfect. Your story is secure in His hands. No matter what the narcissist tries, they cannot erase the plan God has for you. The victory is already won. It's up to you to walk into it with faith and boldness. So, rise up today with the confidence that you are more than a conqueror. Walk forward, knowing that your story ends in victory, because God is with you every step of the way. The narcissist may try to rewrite your story, but God already wrote your victory. Now, it's time for you to walk fully in it. You've been through the fire. You've questioned your worth. You've stared into the manipulative eyes of a narcissist who tried to convince you that your value depended on their approval. But hear this clearly. You are not what they said about you. You are what God declared over you. You are chosen, anointed, and covered. And no amount of gaslighting, control, or sabotage can cancel what heaven has already funded. Your life is not stuck. It's shifting. What may feel like delay is divine protection. What looked like rejection was redirection. You were never called to fit into systems built to break you. You were designed to walk in authority, in clarity, and in unstoppable favor. And every tear, every sleepless night, every moment you doubted yourself, it wasn't wasted. God was building something unshakable inside of you. Let go of the narcissist's voice in your head. Let go of the guilt. Let go of trying to prove your worth to people who can't even see their own value. You're not begging anymore. You're building. You're not looking back. You're walking into destiny. Their tactics won't work because you finally see through them. This is the season where God funds your purpose in full. No more scarcity mindset. No more waiting for validation. Your story isn't over. It's unfolding.